This is Citizens for Community Media, formerly called Public Access Michiana. I am Peter Helland, and we are in Fort Wayne, Access Fort Wayne actually, at their downtown public library. And it just so happened as we came in, Norm Compton, who's been running Access Fort Wayne for about 14 years, has some free time, and we're able to interview him about Alliance for Community Media Conference coming to South Bend at the end of April. And he can give us a little history about public access in Fort Wayne.
Sure.
And Fort Wayne, for people in South Bend, they know it's a sister city. When we were able to get public access back up and running in South Bend, Fort Wayne has always been a model for us. I think I met Norm quite a few years
really,
ago.
as far as Fort Wayne has been a model for me. As far as I've actually been managing cable TV channels since 1987. Okay, so that's, yeah, in dinosaur years. I mean, you know, I'm I'm older than God. Okay, but I ran a one-channel facility in Defiance, Ohio, for 12 years, and then moved over here to Fort Wayne in 1999. So as far as if you do the math, that's actually more like about almost 30 years, so 29 years as far as in management of cable TV. Before that, I started up in the Detroit area as far as I worked in a suburb of Detroit, and I worked actually for the cable company, and they ran a public access channel and a local origination channel, much like what Comcast used to do there in South Bend. Okay. Yeah, been in the business a long time. And worked in 3 different states.
Well, in South Bend, our interest in South Bend is trying to get more support to get community media more integrated into South Bend, Mishawaka, Elkhart area.
Right.
And the Alliance for Community Media, we see Grand Rapids, we see Kalamazoo, we see Fort Wayne, and they're highly integrated into their communities.
You're starting over again. You got to. It's baby steps. As far as that, you know, that Comcast was doing it there for a number of years, and basically, as far as people got lackadaisical, as far as they accepted it as far as this is, you know, the way it is, and then Comcast pulled their support and said, "Hey, we're not going to do this anymore," and so it's basically a do-over. You're starting from ground zero and building up again. So while Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Fort Wayne are great examples of what things could be, we're celebrating our 35th anniversary here. Okay, so you're back at at your first anniversary.
Well, I think at South Bend you're going to be facing the question: why should we even have it? And you know, why should you have city parks, right? I mean,
well, it's always great to have an alternative news source. In Defiance, Ohio, the reason that Defiance, Ohio started public access channel was that the city council themselves wanted an alternative source of what actually happened at the meetings. Okay, as far as the newspaper there, the Crescent News. Had reporters in as far as, and of course would report what city council did. But city council members like, well, that may be the way some of it was, but they missed over the details. So the reason that they started a public access channel was to actually, it was public, education, and government all on the same channel. So city council meeting was just a staple. And across the board, as far as if you go any access facility in the United States, city council meetings are the most widely watched program that a facility can work with. Here at Access Fort Wayne, we've been with the library since 1981. And that was public access as far as, I mean, truly just public. So a lot of church services and, lots of different entertainment. Community band, the dance collective, so the arts, the religion, free speech, okay? In the mid-'90s, as far as they were renegotiating the cable franchise, And that's the basic agreement that the cable company has with the community. Usually that's done on a city level. And Fort Wayne City Council had their city council meetings covered by a production company, and paid for it, obviously, as far as and they liked it, but the library came in and said, "Look, we'll be able to do it cheaper, quicker, and we'll throw a few more programs into the mix as well. As far as we do a live council call-in show, so it's actually as far as it's a live call-in show featuring city council people." And so if you really want to go out and communicate to your constituents, here's an opportunity. So we started doing city council meetings in 1996, multiple cameras as far as, and that remains a staple. We actually picked up the county government in 2002. One of the public information officers that used to work for the city jumped over into the county thing, and he approached me. It's like, "Hey, we'd like to get the county commissioners on. We'd like to put on the county council." So I put on my political hat and went over to the city and said, "Well, the county wants to jump on board. Here's an opportunity here, all right, And so we said, "Okay, well, we'll start off this way." And so we were doing county commission meetings and county council meetings, and it was all right as far as it. We were getting some funding from the county to cover their government meetings, to produce their meetings, and all the meetings are gavel to gavel. Okay, as far as and
cover the whole thing.
Yeah. You don't editorialize it. You stay with the action as far as I don't cut away to see who's not paying attention at the table. I stay where the action is. Who is presenting. Okay. Who's asking them a question? So we don't editorialize anything that's going on there, and even to the point where, as far as here's a great story. As far as years and years ago, I was at City Council in Defiance, Ohio, and this is a flashback of Flint here right now. As far as that, they were having some problems with the water, and one of the citizens brought in a great big gallon jar, like an old pickle jar, okay, of their water, and they came up and set it right on the table. Where the city council members were around, and I'm directing the city council meeting. Well, obviously this jug of water was very visible. You had to kind of like people were kind of leaning around it, and it's like, well, all right, how much time do you spend focused on that versus back to who's talking? And that's really as far as So you have to make some judgment calls as far as in directing things like that, but. That is, once again, as far as that's what it's a free government. It's we've got the sunshine laws as far as it we can cover public meetings like that, and it really, as far as it changes the dynamics, as far as it there's a lot less transparency. That as far as, hey, we're not trying to cover up anything here. This is our meeting. This is what's going on with it. I also had a chance to do school board meetings. And school board was reluctant to do that as far as, okay, I understand the way the law is, but once they got understood what was going on with it, and I had the opportunity to bring in one of the administrators from the school board to serve on the cable commission, the board that oversaw the cable organization. And once they got on board with it, as far as literally, then it's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to restructure the Board of Education meetings. We're going to highlight some things here. Let's bring in our team of, the quiz bowl and show off as far as our kids here. And let's bring in as far as this other thing. And so the Board of Education meeting became a bit of a showcase as far as what are we doing right here? We're going to strut our stuff a little bit, and then we're going to get on with the meeting. So, like I said, as far as government, I think definitely has a big place, and that's where you can definitely.
How long have you been doing the school board? The county was 2002.
That was 2002. Here in Fort Wayne, the Educational Access Channel wasn't started back in the 80s. And the library actually activated that as far as we took on educational access. I believe Now, this is before my time here in Fort Wayne, but I believe it was in the late 80s that we started activating that.
But you have 3 channels here? You have an educational channel, a government channel?
No, we actually, in Fort Wayne on the cable system, we have 5 channels. Okay. We have 2 public access channels. We have City TV, which is the government channel, and we have 2 higher education channels. As far as one is run by LTV out of the Fort Wayne Community Schools, and we have a college access channel, which is based out of IPFW. Okay, so like I said, back in the 80s, as far as the library activated with the Cable Commission, as far as the educational access channel. And after a while, as far as the Fort Wayne Community Schools said, hey, we want to take that over. So it's like, okay, there you go. And like I said, as far as the Fort Wayne City government used to contract out as far as to have meeting coverage of it. So we said, well, if you're going to pay somebody, why don't you pay the library? Okay, we'll do a better job for you. So, like I said, we were able to win the contract for that. It's an interlocal agreement as far as that the library has with the Fort Wayne city government to run their channel for them.
So when people are running for office, I remember going to some of the Alliance for Community Media conferences. The politicians oftentimes would use the public access channel, and then people would know more about the candidates that they want to vote for.
Sure, and that is there's a subtle difference between government access and public access. Okay, public access is free speech. Okay,
right. So anything First Amendment,
and political speech obviously is very much a free speech. That's founding fathers as far as let's start our own company, let's start our own government. So from a public access standpoint, as far as yes, you can have political speech, and you can talk whether it's on a local level as far as city council people, you can interview them as far as and find out what they're all about. City council people can do their own show if they wanted to. Okay.
Right. So the mayor could have his own show if he wanted.
Right. Okay. But on a government access level, okay, that's where you start to get a little bit more. In the government access channel here in Fort Wayne, we have our own policies and procedures for that channel.
So it's not strictly First Amendment.
No, it is not. Okay, and in actuality, we actually have blackout dates as far as that the council call-in show I mentioned. Okay, obviously that could be perceived as city council person getting extra time on TV.
Oh, right.
So we actually stopped doing that program 30 days before an election. Okay. Recently, a law passed in Michigan that the Michigan legislator basically, as far as put a gag order on governments there to do any kind of education about public issues 60 days before an election. Okay. And that seems to be a little bit extreme, in my opinion. Okay, I'm from Michigan originally, and when I saw that pass, it's like, man, that's not right. That's
a little draconian.
It's I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said, as far as an educated electorate, obviously, as far as is what really people want to do in a democracy. You want to understand the issues, you want to understand the candidates. And that obviously, hopefully, will make them more accountable.
Well, the idea of a First Amendment fit in with democracy. That democracy and the First Amendment kind of work with each other. And
yes.
So if the community is not using the boundaries of the First Amendment, it's not really helpful for a wholesome democracy if they're not using it.
Well, you mentioned as far as you're getting things started there in South Bend, Mishawaka, that area. The building blocks of access, really, as I mentioned, as far as city council meetings and government meetings. Like I said, as far as to take the cameras, even a single camera, go in there. It's like, I'm going to record the meeting. And I'm going to put this on the channel. Okay, and people that. It's amazing as far as who watches. Here in Fort Wayne, as far as we can't get enough city council meeting within that first 24-hour news cycle with it. As far as that, our meetings are on live. We go live from City Hall, and that's typically every Tuesday. We actually take the channel over at 5 o'clock, and we run the agenda for the meeting for the first half hour. Okay. That gives us a chance to actually, we're testing the signal in a sense, as far as like we go live at 5 o'clock, a half hour before the meeting. In case there's something wrong, we still have a half hour wiggle to it.
Well, we've had problems in South Bend where it does go wrong, and that's not really good.
Right. So by 5:30, when the meeting actually starts, like I said, we've established the signal. We're up and running as far as for a half hour, and we actually transition from the agenda to a standard opening. And it's actually as far as Access Fort Wayne staff that, in a sense, start the meeting, okay? We tell the president of the council meeting, you got 1 minute, okay? It's 5:29. We're starting to hear at 5:30. You got 1 minute. Stand by. And we actually count them down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's
it makes sense because
you're
doing this for the public because they're meeting on behalf of the public's interest.
Right. And it's a live coverage of that. Okay, so once we get the meeting started, then it's like, hey, it's their agenda, all right, and like I said, whether it's 15 minutes or whether it's an hour and a half or longer, as far as we're there for the duration. Now, obviously, as far as in the process of our live coverage, we're making recordings from it as well. Then
you'll replay it.
We replay it, yeah. As I said, as far as that news cycle, so it's on live at 5:30. We play it back again at 9 o'clock that night. Okay, we play it back again at 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and we play it back again at 6:30 the next morning.
Now, do you think, and you're saying that people are interested in watching it?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Whereas a lot of people not attend the meetings physically.
No,
but they'll watch it.
Here's the story. Okay, here's the reality: is that the media is there covering the city council meeting. Okay. Often, as far as I'm watching the 11 o'clock news, and here's our story tonight as far as city council voted on blah 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 blah. And I'm seeing them interview the city council candidates, and I'm seeing my staff in the background putting their cameras away. Okay, and it's like, oh, Daniel wore that shirt today. Okay, so that prompts the people as far as if they're talking about something going on in your backyard. It's like you're going to pick your ears up a little bit. Whoa, what's going on with this? Where can I see that? And so, like I said, that playback schedule, on live at 5:30, on at 9 o'clock at night, on at 1 o'clock in the morning, on at 6:30 the next morning, and then we put it on video on demand. As far as so it's like YouTube, and so people can flip through. We actually have it indexed by the item as far as the agenda item. So, if, like I said, I'm only interested in the stuff that's going to affect my neighborhood. Okay, I saw that they're coming out and surveying my backyard as far as to put in something, and I want to find out what that's all about. So I can go to that specific agenda item on the video on demand and obviously play it off there. And we actually find that a lot of the city administration is the one that watches a lot of the video on demand. As far as the IP addresses of the computers are listed in our service, so we can see how many people are watching this and how many people are watching that.
Well, South Bend and Fort Wayne are kind of like sister cities. I think they're in the same diocese, the Catholic diocese.
Sure. Yes.
So South Bend doesn't have this, and Fort Wayne does. What would be the argument as to why South Bend should have it? I mean, because it benefits democracy, or it benefits...
It helps everybody understand what's going on with government. As far as, that, government is supposed to help the community as far as be prosperous. Part of it is economic development. So you look at all the different things that we have in our government access meetings for our government access channel. That there's economic development aspect of things. What's going on as far as redevelopment. That's been a real hot topic here in Fort Wayne for the past decade or so.
Same as South Bend.
Yeah, as far as they want to see cranes downtown. They want to see, that aspect of things. So we covered not only the city council meeting, but the planning meetings as far as, so what's designed to go where as far as this is part of the master plan. We had a huge issue here in Fort Wayne that just really kind of worked through this past month or so, that they were wanting to build a big truck hub out by the GM plant, okay? And this was a big, expansive project as far as, I'm not sure how many square feet, but, I mean, we're talking several hundred trucks, okay? And the neighbors hated it, okay? And they were there at every planning committee meeting as far as, you know, protesting it and speaking out about it and things like that. And it passed the planning commission because technically, as far as they had all the T's crossed, all the I's dotted, okay, you know, got our permits. This is, you know, this is designed as far as proper use for this area. But the county commissioners, in the end, rejected it. It's like, you know, hey, no, you know, we're listening to the citizens. So obviously, a lot of those people were involved in the process, and it was newsworthy. Okay,
but they might have been more involved in Fort Wayne than South Bend because I'm just saying they might have had more help in Fort Wayne with their community media.
Well, like I said,
involvement.
Like I said, as far as, you know, we cover the meetings gavel to gavel. So you read about it in the newspaper. It's like, okay, let me, you know, hey, this is my aunt lives out that way. I'm gonna check and see what's going on, you know, and so, like I said, as far as it gives another source of unbiased, direct information, you know, instead of giving you the short 90-second version that you see on the 11 o'clock news, I can watch the whole thing and really get all the details. Well,
even the FCC, way back when public access started in 1970, they made a note, especially the urban areas, that the mega corporations were almost having a negative effect because they came from only one position.
Sure.
And they were directing the media. And with public access, it's not based on money so much. I mean, almost basically not. There is not a direct money controlling influence on what's being put on. So there's a little more objectivity.
There is, but like I said, as far as it's a community service. And now, obviously, I work for the library. Okay, and the library is a institution where we provide a lot of different services. You know, we're here to educate and entertain and enrich the whole community. That's part of the mission statement here at the Allen County Public Library. I don't know all of it verbatim, but like I said, that you know, summarizes it. And I feel that Access Fort Wayne does a great job of living that mission out on cable TV. Now, obviously, this day and age, as far as we've got a lot of competition as far as delivery methods of entertainment or information to your home. As far as, you know, you can watch stuff on your phone. As far as you can, obviously, YouTube, Netflix, you know, as well as broadcast TV. So it's like, well, okay, it is still, content is king. Okay, as far as if you've got something that people want to see, then they will try to find a way to see it. And that's where, like I said, as far as you know, that the government meetings are a great foundation as far as to have and to build upon as far as front access following. Education is another big thing as far as you know, high school sports. That's an opportunity to build on that. You know, obviously college, you know, Notre Dame,
Bethel, yeah. IUSB.
Yeah, they've got their contracts, okay, as far as with ESPN and ABC or whatever, as far as, you know, covering the game sort of thing. But high school sports, that's a whole nother niche as far as, now it's more grassroots. It's obviously more local, but at the same time, as far as, you know, whether you're actually covering the game or whether you're just doing a coach's program, here's an opportunity to educate these students and have them a chance to interact with them. As far as true story, as far as my wife used to run the access facility up in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Okay, and Mount Pleasant, Michigan is the home of Central Michigan University. And she did the coaches program there. And Antonio, he plays for the Steelers now. Antonio Brown, okay, was a student at Central Michigan University. And on the coaches program, it's like, here, sit up, you know. Your mom's going to be watching this, you know. So basically giving him basic direction as far as how to behave in front of a camera. And obviously he got drafted by the Steelers. He's an MVP as far as, you know, in some games, as far as he's making big bucks as far as in the NFL. But as far as the basic lessons, he learned from Access how to behave in front of a camera.
Interesting.
So, I mean, obviously, yeah, lifelong impact as far as what Access can do.
Do you think that Access TV could go off because everything's changing in the technical world?
Sure.
But yeah, right now it still shows a vibrancy.
Oh, well, we're, like I said, as far as, that we got about 3 minutes left here. That is a challenge as far as, cable TV is a dinosaur as far as technology is concerned. I mean, stuff that was developed back in the 70s, oh my God, that's so last century, where, like I said, as far as YouTube, Vimeo, as far as video on demand, I want to watch it right now. And so that's something that Access needs to be addressed, and we're doing that here with Access Fort Wayne. Like I said, a video on demand service. Like I said, the city council meetings, we can't get them up fast enough. County commissioners are right there, and they feel a sense of competition with the city. Okay, and it's like, great. Okay, we got them both, working here, and we're benefiting from that. The community as a whole, and also things from the library. So, we're providing that service. Live stream is the next big thing as far as technology, so that as far as not only am I on the channel, but I'm also on the internet. Here's where you can find it on the internet, and I'm reaching beyond cable. So all those people that's like, hey man, I don't have cable TV, all right, I just got the antenna, I'm watching things off air. Great, here's the URL, watch us on the internet.
Right. And so that is pretty exciting. You're going to be at the conference or no?
Yes, sir.
In April. Okay,
yeah.
April 27th, you're going to be there. I think I'm going to try to get Judy to interview Elizabeth, who worked in South Bend originally for the public access.
All right.
So,
Peter, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Norm.
Thank you, Peter and Norm. And I am Judy Latanation from Citizens for Community Media in South Bend. And I have Elizabeth Lord Cary, and she's the committee chairman for the conference we're going to have in April at the WNIT Conference Center, and it's called Flowing Forever Conference, and it'll be April 27th to April 29th. Okay, and Elizabeth, tell me about the group that is hosting the conference.
Well, the group that's hosting the conference is the Central States region of the Alliance for Community Media, which is a national organization that supports PEG Media. PEG is Public, Educational, and Government Access Media. These are centers that are all over the nation that help with communities having either the public, educational, or government media centers. The public centers are open to anyone in the community to come down to and do a public access show like the one we're doing here today. The educational centers are mostly based in schools, which is where I work now. I work for Fort Wayne Community Schools, and we teach students how to do media. We teach them the technologies behind making television programs. We also teach them digital literacy and how to do script writing, how to do screenplays, all of those sorts of things. Then we have government access media, which I believe South Bend has their city council meetings airing about twice a month. That is government access. Fort Wayne here does have government access. They air a lot of the local government meetings, the city council meetings. I know the park board has their meetings that air on the channel. And so PEG, which is Public Educational Government, really encompasses all of the different components of media that a community might need or use.
Okay. Who should attend the conference, and what is your target audience for the conference that's coming up in South Bend in April?
Well, everyone should attend the conference. Our target audience is just the citizens of South Bend. It is a community media conference. There are going to be sessions there that are goaled and oriented towards anyone. We're going to have basics of social media. We're going to have public relations basics. We're going to have a lot of educational and informational sessions going on that anyone who's interested in media can get involved in. And one of the things that's really exciting about media these days, with the growth of computers and with cameras being as cost efficient as they are, everyone has to get involved in media in one form or another. Even locally here in Fort Wayne, the local newspaper has their reporters carry around video cameras and get video of the events that they are writing the news about. And so they even need to know the basics of running a camera. And at our conference, we're going to be teaching from the basics all the way up through some of the advanced techniques on how to do special effects and how to work the equipment that you would find in a community media center.
Okay.
So everyone.
Can you share some insights on sessions that will be offered to participants of the conference?
Well, we're also going to have, in addition to the basics of social media and public relations, we're going to have some equipment that's going to be showcased. We have people coming up with a really new technology that will be able to incorporate multiple iPhones or iPads, something called a switcher studio, so you can do a multi-camera event using your iPhones and iPads. We're going to have those folks there showing off their equipment that they've got that's really cost effective. So if you and some friends want to go record the baseball game, and you've got somebody in the audience sitting by first base, and you've got somebody in the audience sitting over by third base and somebody behind home, you can run those cameras through the switcher studio and you can make it look like you're a real live professional outfit recording this baseball game.
That's great.
We're also going to have Representative Matt Pierce from Bloomington coming to visit us, and he's going to talk about the legislative issues that impact public educational and government access media, and he's going to share with us how we can develop relationships with our local and state politicians so that we can encourage them to make it so that the legislature is friendly to these access centers so that we can have these local media access centers grow and become even more valuable and important to our communities.
It sounds like you have a well-developed program for many interests. If someone is unable to attend the conference, how would they get any access to any of the conference information?
Well, the first place to go to is our website, which is csregionacm.org. And that's where you can find all kinds of information, all of the sessions that we've got as things change and develop, and all of the registration information. We're also going to have videos of the event posted afterward. So if you can't necessarily attend live, which I would strongly encourage, because then you get to meet the people that are presenting things, and if you have any questions, you could ask them. But csregionacm.org is our website, and we've got everything listed there.
Okay. I know you also work on the educational aspect of media in the school systems. What can you kind of describe what you do in a typical day?
Well, I work for Fort Wayne Community Schools at the Career Academy at Anthus, which is a very interesting and unique school environment to work in. We are not a normal high school. We are a career academy. And so I work part of the IT academy where students come down and they either learn how to do television, web development and design, or computer infrastructure, networking and design. We also have a construction trades, there's an automobile trades, there's a cosmology, there's makeup. We have a culinary department. So we have students that make the gourmet meals that everybody eats at lunchtime every day. It's really a fabulous place. The students graduate from the Career Academy at Anthus with marketable job skills. So they have a high school diploma. They also have a certification, and they can go out straight from high school and get a job in a lot of these areas and industries that they get training from. A typical day for me, I work in the television department. I work for LTV, which is Learning Television, which is educational access. I run the educational access channel that broadcasts throughout Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Allen County. So I schedule what's going to play. I make sure that all of the equipment is working. I also maintain the television studio that the students have access to use. Earlier today I was working with some kids that wanted to do some special effects on the video switcher, and I was showing them how they could do what they wanted to do. On a very regular basis, because we've discovered that having someone who is both a teacher and a television person is kind of a rare mix of skills. So a lot of the times we have to hire teachers that aren't necessarily TV people to teach television. So they know, a lot of times they're English teachers, so they know how to do script writing. I go through and I teach them how to use the equipment to make the technology work with their classroom instructions. So I teach teachers, which is a fun and interesting concept.
Okay. What experiences have you acquired that has enabled you to enjoy success in the media development in these schools?
That's a good question. I'd say that my most empowering skill that I have that has helped me with all of these different developments over the years is really a knack for learning new things. You know, it's not about learning how to work one piece of equipment or one editing program. It's about learning how to learn and being adaptable to the changes in technology and the changes in styles of ways that things are done. When I first started working in television, it was more years ago than I'd like to say, but we were still analog. And over the years, I've seen the transition to digital tape, to digital files, now to high definition, and I even work with some gear that is 4K, so 4,000 bits of information per second. I've seen the transition from video equipment being something that only professionals were able to get, down to being something that is marketable and economical for anyone and everyone to own. But the skills behind running a camera still stay the same. You still need to do the basics. You need to know how to zoom without going crazy. You need to know how to set focus. Framing your shots. That's not something that just anybody knows instinctively, but it's very important for making your footage look good. So,
okay. How can South Bend use public media network to encourage educational development of school-age students?
Well, it goes to pointing out that multimedia skills are important for anyone and everyone. You know, just because a kid is interested in television right now doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to work in television when they get up to the working ages. They might end up working for a PR firm, but that PR firm has a website, and that website needs to have video, which means they need to know how to work video. And getting involved in these community media centers, like the one you have in South Bend, gives them the opportunity to have experience working with media in an environment that is open and friendly. You can make your mistakes before it'll cost you your job.
That's true. Okay, what educational model have you developed that has fostered interest in public media?
Well, my colleagues and I, in the Alliance for Community Media, we reach out to the geeks in society, the people that like television and look at the cameras and look at the other sorts of equipment and kind of, you know, their eyes get big and ooh, there's a new toy. Can I play with that? So we reach out to those people.
Like an experimental type of thing?
Yeah, yeah. You see something new and you want to figure out how it works. We also just show off our toys. And when I say toys, I mean the camera. That's a fun toy to play with. You don't necessarily want to drop it or anything. You have to be gentle with it per its cost relevance, but I don't really think of any of the equipment or tools that I use on a daily basis as equipment and tools. I think of them as toys, and we very much, my friends and I in the Alliance, give people the opportunity to use things right away. I know when I was in school, when I was going through college and high school, we had to do semesters and semesters of theory before we got to use any of the gear. And one of the perks about these access centers is that from your first class, you're using the gear. It is learning by doing.
That's good. What programs have you developed to maintain student interest in the educational public media program throughout a student's educational career? You said that you started high school level. Have you started with anything earlier than high school?
Well, it's not just me.
Okay.
I am fortunate to be in an infrastructure within Fort Wayne Community Schools where the people making the decisions realize the importance of getting kids involved in television. I've kind of inherited that infrastructure. It's been there a lot longer than me. There are schools, elementary schools, in Fort Wayne Community Schools that have television programs. Usually there's a lot more structure at the elementary or middle school level than there is at the high school level. They're given a lot more freedom at the high school level. The elementary kids are kind of put in front of one specific set. It doesn't really change a whole lot at that level. And they are reading a script. We have teleprompters set up, and so, you know, you'll go to the elementary school, and the one in locally here is called Croninger, and we go down there. They've got a great communications program, and I will watch first graders, literally first graders, reading what the week's weather is going to be and what events are happening at the school, and watching, you know, 7- and 8-year-olds reading TV scripts kind of makes my heart skip a beat a little bit. It's adorable.
It's good skills.
But we're getting them involved in television and getting them interested in television and letting them see what the possibilities are.
Okay, how can Citizens for Community Media gain public support to sustain our programming?
Showcase the beauty of being an entity that facilitates freedom of speech. You are the proverbial soapbox that someone can stand on and share their views and their opinions. And one of the things that public access has over the internet, you know, when people post videos online, let's say YouTube, you are lost in this sea of programs. Everyone that has a camera can post something on YouTube. And so to find you, they have to look for you. When you're on public access, somebody's scrolling through the cable channels looking for something to watch. They don't even necessarily have to be computer savvy to see public access. They run across it. They see somebody familiar, and then they decide to watch. Now, I've worked in public access in South Bend and here in Fort Wayne, and my producers from both cities, they go to the grocery store. People might not necessarily know where they know them from or their names, but they are known.
Familiar face.
Hey, you! I know I've seen you. How do I know your face? That's right, you were on that show when you were talking about that thing.
That's good. Okay, so I want to thank Elizabeth for sharing her time with us today,
Thank you.
Giving us some information about the new conference that's going to come to South Bend April 27th and 29th at WNIT in South Bend at the Community Center, and it's called Flowing Forward Conference.
Okay, my name is Elizabeth Lord Cary. I am here today to speak to you about the Flowing Forward Conference that is coming to South Bend, Indiana, April 27th through 29th this year. We are going to be at the WNIT Community Center that is located at 300 West Jefferson, kitty corner from the City Council building. The conference is being planned and coordinated by the group, the Alliance for Community Media, Central States Region. Central States is representative of Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Kentucky. As we say, I'm okay. The conference is something that we do every year. We go between the 4 region states, and we do these conferences. They're a multi-purpose event. We get to collaborate with one another, people that work in the PEG media industry, and we get to socialize. We get to share new and original ways of doing television and media outreach. We also get to explore the new technologies that are emerging. Seems like every minute something new is coming out. You know, our computers are getting faster and faster by the minute. If you have a computer that's 4 years old, it's relatively a dinosaur compared to the things that are out these days. You know, we've always got all these new gadgets. We've got these things that we carry in our hands that don't seem to last for more than a year and a half, but there's always something new coming out that's going to replace it. The new camera has 24 megapixels. Oh no, wait, there's something that has 56 megapixels. You can zoom in on somebody's eyeball from a football field away. Well, the Alliance for Community Media is representative of people like myself, geeks. Yes, I said it. We're geeks. We like these new technology items. We like seeing what they can do. We like exploring the new gadgets and gizmos. We like to take these cameras, these computers, these tripods, these drones. We like to get our hands on these things and see exactly what they're capable of. I have colleagues that have drones, quadcopters, aerial imaging devices, so you can fly around and you can get video footage with a little thing that costs maybe $300-400 that back when I was a child somebody would have to rent a helicopter for the day and put a cameraman up hundreds of feet in the air and risk their lives to hopefully get a nice, pretty, swooping image of the Century Center in South Bend. Now I can just fly my drone over there and whoop, I've got my B-roll. So we're live from South Bend in 3, 2, 1. And then we get to talk about what's going on while people are looking at this aerial footage of the East Race and downtown. And we get to see just how beautiful your city looks with a toy. Yeah, technology, that's some crazy stuff. My group, the Alliance for Community Media, is a bunch of geeks that like the technology. We're also a bunch of geeks that like to teach the technology. We have our hands deep in learning how to use all of these new things. And we're going to show you how to use these new things. Because using a camera isn't just about point and click. It's about framing your shot. It's about making people look good. It's about having proper lighting. It's about making sure that people can hear what it is that you're saying. It's about using the technology to most effectively convey the message that it is that you want to share. It's about using that soapbox of media in the most powerful way that you can. Do you have an opinion about something? Well, of course you do. Everyone has an opinion about things. Do you want to share it with people? Some people do, some people don't. Some people are very outgoing. Some people are very sociable. If you want to be on TV, you want to come down to the conference, April 27th through the 29th, and learn from industry professionals that are educators, because we've got some things to share with you that you might just be improved with. We're going to do public relations. We're going to do social media. We're going to do legislator relations. We've got local legislators, local community leaders, maybe some not so local community leaders. We have people from Kalamazoo and Ann Arbor, Battle Creek, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Dayton, Louisville, region cities that have community access, public education and government, local media. And local, that's the important thing. These people care about what's going on in your community. They care about the same things that are important to you. We're not talking the national, we're talking local. You know, you're important to us more than just the 6 weeks before your primary hits. You're important to us year-round, as long as we are alive. Community access is about you, members of the community. So we do these conferences because we want to get together with you. We want you to come down. Are you old? Okay, some people are old. Come down and learn some stuff. Learning something new every day is the best way to keep your brain alive. You want to fight off Alzheimer's, right? Come on down and join us. We'll teach you how to use some of our new toys. Are you a kid? Are you in high school? Well, we're going to have people that work at local community access centers all over the region joining us for this conference. And a lot of them have jobs that are open. And they're going to welcome new people to come down and work at their community access centers. So you can get a job working in media straight out of high school and build up, what's that word that you always see on the job advertisements? They want you to have, that's right, experience. These community media centers are places where you can go and you can develop media skills and experience. And one of the really frustrating things about getting into the television industry, you need to have experience to get that entry-level job. Well, how do you get experience? Community media. We want you to come down and get involved. We love teaching youngsters, oldsters, everyone in between, how to do television. We've got gear. We've got people. Well, we also need somebody in front of the camera. And trust me, that's not where I thought I would be 15 years ago. Here I am, in front of the camera, talking to you. So come on down. Flowing Forward. Named for the St. Joseph River that flows north through South Bend. What a bizarre and strange thing. Well, life is kind of bizarre and strange. We want to help you express yourselves. We want to help you learn how to make the most out of your freedom of speech. Because saying something and really reaching out to a community and having a powerful message and getting people involved and tugging at their heartstrings is more than just saying, well, I think so-and-so is not so bright. That doesn't really hit very strong. But if you have a a thought-out speech, if you have some powerful visuals, if you use some of these toys that we've got that make things look so cool, you can really reach out to your local community with your message and really get people empowered and invigorated. And you can make some change. And everybody's always talking about make change. Well, change happens on the local level. And that's why my group, the Alliance for Community Media, we go to different cities. We get involved with locals. People you've seen on TV probably half a dozen times. Well, they're coming to our conference too. So you can actually meet people that are on TV and learn how you can be on TV with them. Yeah. Flowing Forward Media Conference, South Bend, Indiana, April 27th through the 29th. If you want more information about the conference, about what's going on there, about scholarships to attend it, www.csregionacm.org. Or you can just go to Google and type in Central States ACM, Alliance for Community Media, and follow their clicks. And then you can get to my website. The conference is coming, late April, and it's going to be cool, man. You got to come join us.